Brian's got it on.
He's good.
Harp and flute first, right?
Yeah, they play for.
Well, the microphone's not good, but he started whatever he needed to do. For some reason, I thought Yizkor was at 4:30 today. For some reason. What?
Our time was perfect.
Probably.
Yeah. Why is it rolling? Let's start.
So this is all recorded till 5:04.
Now Michael's doing something before.
No, yeah.
Many of us come to this service, our moments of Yizkor, because of a loss we have experienced. Maybe it was the death of a loved one this past year. Maybe it was someone's passing decades ago. But in being mourners, whether we remember a parent, a spouse, a sibling, a child, we are a community together. We support one another. We realize we are not alone. While a subdued and reflective time, we can still notice our community around us. So, as we've been doing, I invite you to share with each other, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, to help us create our community together, wishing one another a Gemar Tov, letting each other know that we're not alone. Know that being at services, sharing in these prayers is a chance for us to reflect, to mourn, to honor, and to remember. For those wanting to see the remembrance book we printed here at Temple, yet those who have asked should have received their copy already at home, but we also have the entire remembrance book available online to download. The direct link is in the YouTube description with the service and also on our website, shirshalom.org, under the High Holidays. Of course, this past year, really these past 6 months, as we've watched the devastation caused by the coronavirus, we've gained an additional perspective. With over 200,000 deaths, we've all been impacted by this reality. Whether personally or by extension, the loss has been tremendous and overwhelming and sad. Last week, when this new horrendous benchmark was reached, Harry Smith shared a powerful essay on NBC. It's important for us today. It's a reminder that Yizkor tells us to use our remembering to be there for others. We can agree that 200,000 is a lot, a high, hard to get your head around number. It's more than the population of Little Rock, Arkansas, or Salt Lake City, close to the number of people living in Des Moines, Rochester, New York. A friend of mine thinks there should be a place where a tree is planted for every person who has died of the coronavirus, a beautiful forest of remembrance. Something we could see to help us visualize the impact on what's happened to so many American families. Another friend thinks maybe we should figure out a way to read all the names, sort of like the names are read every morning on the anniversary of 9/11. But if we did read them, 3 seconds a name, 20 seconds a minute, 20 names a minute, 1,200 an hour to honor the more than 200,000, it would take a week. Parents, grandparents, children, brothers, sisters, dearest friends, lost loves. 200,000. It is a lot of names. Too many, in fact. Lord, I yearn only to be near you. Though at times I seem remote, I cannot find the way unaided. Teach me the faithful service you'd have me do. Show me your ways, and guide me, lead me. Release me from the prison of unknowing while I still can make amends. Do not despise my lowly state. Before I grow so weak, so heavy with mortality that I bend and fall, my bones, brittle with age, become food for moth and worm. Be my help. Oh, be my help. Where my forebears went, there go I. I know it. Yes, the resting place is mine. I know it. Like them, I am a stranger passing through this life. Since the womb of earth is my allotted portion, and since I've chased the wind from the beginning of my days, when will I come to set my house in order? The passions you yourself have made a part of me have kept me wrapped within the passing scene, and how enslaved to passion as I've been. A prey to fierce and fiery hungers, how, I ask, could I have served you as I needed to? But now the time has come to ask. Why all this ambition? Why the quest for high estate when tomorrow I must die? Why this expense of spirit when tomorrow I mourn the passing time? These days and nights combine to bring me to the end. They scatter my thoughts to the winds. They return my frame to the dust. What now can I say in my defense? What brave words remain to shield me from my truth? My nature has pursued me, possessed me, driven and flayed me. A doubtful friend from childhood on. What then do I really have besides your presence? Stripped of all my pretensions, naked and only your goodness can clothe and shelter me, for nothing now remains but this. Lord, I yearn only to be near you. Lord of all worlds, how insignificant we are in your sight, how minute in your presence. You are creator of a universe so vast, the effort to conceive it overwhelms the mind. The keenest eye scans but a corner of it. The rays of light we see today began their journey long before we came to be. Counted from first creation, the earth we live on was born but yesterday, and we made our appearance on it only a moment ago. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon, the stars that you've established, what are we that you are mindful of us? What are we mortals that you consider us? We are feeble. We live always on the brink of death. Scarcely ushered into life, we begin our journey to the grave. Our best laid plans are ever at risk. Our fondest hopes are buried with us. Ambition drives us on to high exertion. Indulgence makes us waste the powers we have. And evil seduces us to heap misery upon others. Success and failure, love and hatred, pleasure and pain mark our days from birth to death. We prevail only to succumb. We fail only to renew the struggle. Our days are few and full of trouble. The eye is never satisfied with seeing. Endless are the desires of the heart. We devise new schemes in the graves of 1,000 disappointed hopes. And like Moses on Mount Nebo, we behold the promised land from afar, but may not enter it. Our life, at its best, is an endless effort for a goal we never attain. death finally terminates the struggle, and joy and grief, success and failure all are ended, and like children falling asleep over their toys, we relinquish our grasp on earthly possessions only when death overtakes us. Master and servant, rich and poor, strong and feeble, wise and simple, all are equal in death. The grave levels all distinctions and makes the whole world kin.
We continue at the bottom of page 482. O God, author of life and death, our wisdom is small, our vision short. One by one, our companions, passing along the road of life, disappear from our view. We know that each must walk the same path to the doorway of the grave. We strain to see what lies beyond the gate, but all is darkness to our mortal sight. Yet even the darkness is not too dark for you, O God, but the night shines as the day. You have created us in your image and make us share in your enduring righteousness. You have put eternity into our hearts, have implanted within us a vision of life everlasting. This hope we cherish in humility and faith. trusting in your endless goodness and your wondrous love. Into your hands we commit the spirits of our dear ones, for you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us, O God, that we may meet with calm serenity the dark mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope and eternity. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? We shall not fear the summons of death. We shall remember those who have gone before us and those who will come after us. Alas, for those who cannot sing but die with all their music in them. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Help us then to fulfill the promise that is in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generations hence it will be true to say to us, the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it. We continue on page 487. Let us call to mind the great and good, through whom the Eternal has done wonders. They were leaders of the people, helping many with understanding and insight. Wise and eloquent in their teachings, they were just and loving in their deeds. All these were honored in their generations. They were the glory of their times. There are some who have left a name behind them, whose remembrance is as honey in the mouth. People who declare their wisdom, all will tell of their goodness. And there are some who have left no memorial, whose names have vanished as though they had never been. But the goodness of their lives has not been lost, and their work cannot be blotted out. I think continually of those who were truly great, who from the womb remembered the soul's history through endless corridors of light where the hours are suns, endless and singing, whose lovely ambition was their lips, still touched with fire, should tell of the Spirit clothed from head to foot in song, and who hoarded from the spring branches the desires falling across their bodies like blossoms. What is precious is never to forget, the delight of the blood drawn from ageless springs, breaking through rocks and worlds before our earth. Never to deny its pleasures in the simple morning light, nor its grave evening demand for love. Never to allow gradually the traffic to smother, with noise and fog, the flowering of the Spirit. Near the snow, near the sun in the highest fields, see how these names are feted by the waving grass and by the streamers of white cloud, and whispers of wind in the listening sky. The names of those who in their lives fought for life, who wore at their hearts the fire's center. Born of the sun, they traveled a short while toward the sun, and left the vivid air sighing with their honor. We continue with Psalm 23 at the top of page 489. Eternal God, you are my shepherd. I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the eternal God forever.
O Lord of life, our times are in your hand. One generation comes into the world to be blessed with days of peace and safety, and another goes through the valley of the shadow, enduring the cruelties of persecution and war. Heartbreaking have been the times that have fallen to our lot, O God. We've lived through years of tyranny and destruction. We are schooled in sorrow and acquainted with grief. We have seen the just defeated, the innocent driven from their homes, the righteous suffer a martyrdom as merciless as any ages have witnessed. At this hour of memorial, we recall with grief all your children who have perished through the cruelty of the oppressor, victims of demonic hate, the aged and young, the learned and unlettered, all driven in multitudes along the road of pain and pitiless death. Their very presence on our earth was begrudged them, for they brought your covenant of mercy and justice to the recollection of your enemies. They perished because they were a symbol of your eternal law. Their death has brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves in far-off forests and lonely fields. And the substance of many was scattered by winds to the earth's four corners. Yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They now are ours. We pray to you, O source of mercy, that your Torah, to which these children bore witness in life and in death, may come to glow with a renewed light in the human soul, that remembering them, we may sanctify your name in all the world. Thus will their memory become an enduring blessing to all your children. Remember with sorrow those whom death has taken from our midst during this past year, from last Yom Kippur to this. Family, friends of our congregation. Barry Alper, Hilda Appelblatt, Susan Averbach, Jack Bacalar, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Bruce Barkin, Vera Behrman, Carol Binder, Judith Boski, Richard Brewer, Jerry Brown, Thelma Brown, Pat Carey, Barry Chernak, Jack Chernak, Asya Cherniak, Harriet Chudaroff, Shirley Citron, Laverne Cleary, George Cooper, Bill Cooperstock, Rabbi Sissy Koran, Michael Cullen, Nina Cutler, Robert Cutler, Dorothy Diskin, Dolores Disner, Michael Edwin, Bruce Early, Renee Eisenberg, Beatrice Elkin, Rosa Ernstein, Sybil Fankel, Herman Judson Feinberg, Paul Fulton, Bob Friedman, Marilyn Friedman, Leo Friedman, Lester Geisman, Natalie Geisman, Kenneth Gitlin, David Goodman, Pamela Gottlieb, Beth Greenapple, Paula Greenberg, Terry Greenberg Watlet, Helen Harris, Alfred Heller, Louis Hirschman, Roger Honnett, Beatrice Howard, Millie Hosman, Murray Hosman, Anise Janender, Jack Kirsch, Georgia Klaus, Thomas Klein, Irene Kleinbard, Rostel Kogan, Florence Crewman, Kenneth Kurjan, Sonia Liederman, Michael Ledger, Linda Loberman, Bernice Lustig, Marcy Marcus, Francis Markson, Florence Mars, Matthew May, Adeline Meisner, Richard Menzer, Carol Metzger, Herbert Miller, Larry Miller, Melvin Mintz, Deborah Mursky, George Mogul, Doug Moss, Stephen Newman, Marilyn Niss, Benjamin Perlman, Jason Daniel Poland, Florence Posar, Jane Raitt, Stephen Raitt, Ray Randall, Karen Rappley, Elise Rollins, Marjorie Rose, Sydney Rose, Sylvia Rosen, Charlotte Rosner, Saul Rosner, Robert Rubin, Sharon Sanders, Tony Sanders, Stephen Shear, Dorothy Shepard, David Siroff, Manuel Sklar, Robert Smith, Noreen Solomon, Ronald Solway, Evelyn Soroka, Anita Sasson, Janet Stein, Mickey Stern, Marilyn Stern, Michael Stone, Hillary Tarr, Tim Thomas, Leonora Zucker, Neil Uditsky, Benedetta Vela, Dana Wartel Zupke, Cynthia Watson, Morris Wider, Lisa Sue Weiner, Shirley Weingarten, Eugene Weissman, Seymour Woolman, Dolly Wolf, Richard Wolk, Jerry Zaks, Loretta Ziegelman, Fanny Zuckerman. Taking these dear ones into our hearts with all of our beloved, we recall them now with reverence. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of the summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. We rise together, turn to page 492 for the words of El Moe Rachamim, asking God to have compassion on all of their souls. Continue on page 503 of our prayer books as we move into our concluding prayers. We sanctify your name on earth, even as all things to the ends of time and space proclaim your holiness. In the words of the prophet, we say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו אדוני, אדונינו מה אדיר, שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
We continue on page 511 in our prayer books as we rise together for the words of Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Petach Sha'arei Shamayim Letfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be opened to our plea. Avinu Malkeinu, Na'al Shivenu Rekam Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, do not turn us away empty-handed from your presence.
Avinu Malkeinu, Salach u'machal l'chol avonotenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, forgive and pardon all our misdeeds. Avinu Malkeinu, Zachor ki afar anachnu. Avinu Malkeinu, remember that we are dust.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu v'al ol aleinu v'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh aleinu shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, let the new year be a good year for us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadmenu b'sefer chaim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, seal us for blessing in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Keren Yisrael Amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people Israel.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei kol tsar u'mashtin me'alenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to all oppression. Avinu Malkeinu, Hatzmach lanu Yeshua b'karov. Avinu Malkeinu, hasten the time of our redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Asei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us. Even when we have little merit, treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim.
Please be seated. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of our fathers and mothers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, our God and God of all ages, that we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess we have gone astray, we have sinned, we have transgressed. We all have committed offenses. Together we confess these human sins, the sins of arrogance, bigotry, and cynicism, of deceit and egotism, flattery and greed, injustice and jealousy. Some of us have kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded. Others were obstinate or possessive, quarrelsome, rancorous, or selfish. There was violence, weakness of will, xenophobia. We yielded to temptation and showed zeal for bad causes. We have turned aside from your commandments and from your precepts, and it has not availed us. We are just, whatever befalls us. You are just, whatever befalls us. You call us to righteousness, but we bring evil upon ourselves. What shall we say before you who dwell on high? What shall we plead before you enthroned beyond the stars? Are not all things known to you? As in your love, you have been patient with this people, from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day. So in your great love, may you forgive your people now. And God said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. We continue on page 517. Now send forth your hidden light and open to your servants the gates of help. O great God, in your justice and your perfect love, open for us wisdom's gates. Open for us the gates of righteousness, and we shall enter to praise our God. Open the gates, open them wide.
We knock at your gates, O gracious one. Do not turn us away empty-handed.
Open the gates, O God. Open the gates for us and for all Israel.
Open the gates of blessing for us all.
The gates of atonement, benevolence, and compassion.
The gates of dignity, excellence, and faith.
Generosity and hope, insight and joy.
Kindness and love, melody and nobility.
Openness, purity, and quietude. Renewal, simplicity, and truth. The gates of understanding and virtue. The gates of wonder and zest. Open the gates, open them wide. Open the gates, O God, show us the way to enter.
Sometimes I lose my way, I stumble and fall. I fail to see the open door and only see the wall. Sometimes I close my ears when open they should be, but then I stop and listen to that still small voice inside of me. to the promised land. And when I lose my way, I pray that I may see that spark inside the darkness and the gates open for me. Pitchu li sharet tzedek avovam odeya. Pitchu li sharet tzedek avovam odeya. Petach lanu sharet tzedek avovam odeya. Petach lanu sharet tzedek avovam odeya. Pitchu li. Pitchu li.
The day is fading, the sun is setting. The silence and peace of night descend upon the earth. Give rest now, O author of peace, to our troubled hearts. Lift up the spirit oppressed by guilt. Turn, O loved one, to your children. Turn to every broken heart and every burdened soul. Let us at this hour be sure of your forgiveness. From your house, O God, we are about to return to our homes. Enter them with us, that they may become your sanctuaries, dwelling places of your Spirit. Then will our homes stand firm against the storms of life, to be a shelter for all that is good and a refuge from evil. And still another dwelling place have you destined for us, O God, an eternal home to which we shall go when our brief day on earth is past. Open for us then the gates of everlasting peace, and keep alive in those who follow us the truths, the visions, and the hopes we have struggled to make real. This twilight hour reminds us also of the day when, if we are faithful to our mission, your light will arise over all the world, and Israel's spiritual descendants will be as numerous as the stars of heaven. Teach our people to recognize the meaning of our history and the challenge of our destiny, to proclaim to all your children the truth of Israel's message, one humanity on earth, even as there is one God in heaven. You alone know when this great hope shall be fulfilled, but the day will surely come, even as none of your words return fruitless without having accomplished your purpose. Then joy will thrill all hearts, and from one end of the earth to the other will ring the exultant cry, "Hear, O Israel, hear all creation. The eternal is our God, the eternal is one." Your house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. All nations shall flock to it and exclaim in triumphant song, "Lift up your heads, O gates. Lift yourselves up, O ancient doors. Let the God of glory enter." Who is the sovereign of glory? The God of all being is the sovereign of glory.
Lord, whither can I go from your Spirit? Whither can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my home in the lowest depths, behold, you are there. If I take up the wings of the morning and dwell on the ocean's farthest shore, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold me. And if I say, surely the darkness will conceal me, night will hide me from view, even the darkness is not too dark for you. The dark is clear as the day. When I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, and when I gaze at the measureless sea of space and the endless host of stars that sail in it, and when I set out to understand this marvel and its tremendous maker, then your greatness and power overwhelm me. Your infinite majesty makes me tremble with awe. For the worlds beyond count are but a breath of your spirit, the lucent sun's only beams to your light. What are we? You've given us eyes to see something of your truth. What am I? You've given me thought to fathom something of your purpose. Yet upon the earth, with all its abundance and beauty, forests dancing with life, mountains rising like prayers, seas roaring their creative hymn, with all the mysteries of the boundless depths of the immeasurable heights, you've chosen us to proclaim your grandeur, to voice the longing of all being for you, O sovereign of the universe and fountain of life. In woman and man, children of dust and offspring of heaven, you've blended two worlds, perishable earth and immortal soul, finite matter locked into time and space, and infinite spirit which endures through all eternity. You've given us dominion over the works of your hands and placed all things under our care. You've commanded us to live at peace with all living creatures, to walk softly in their presence. But there is that in us which darkens the soul. Called to a life of righteousness, we rebel. Arrogance possesses us. The passions that rage within us drown the voice of conscience. Good and evil, virtue and vice, love and hate contend for the mastery of our lives. Again and again, we complain of the struggle, forgetting that the power to choose is the glory and greatness of our being. When we succumb, life loses its beauty, and within us sounds the voice of judgment. Where are you? How you have fallen, O children of the Most High. But sure as is your judgment, Lord, surer still is your mercy. It is not the death of sinners you demand, only that they return to you, return to life. The gates of your forgiveness are open wide. All who seek to enter may be at one with you. Aware of our weakness, eternal God, we've come before you, longing for your presence, your light, your peace. We have reflected with anguish on a life misused and filled with regrets, on opportunities neglected, promises unfulfilled. We've struggled to reach you, to turn back to you and to your law. Accept then our penitent spirit, be with us as our hope for the future. And now, as evening falls, light dawns within us, hope and trust revive. The shadow that darkened our spirit is vanished, and through the passing cloud there breaks with the last rays of the setting sun the radiance of your forgiving peace. We are restored, renewed by your love. How can we find words to thank you for your goodness? How can words alone be fitting thanks? And so we make this pledge. We will thank you with our lives. We will offer to you the work of our hands. Fill then our heart, our life, our work with a constant love for you, God of the universe, creator of all life, sovereign of all being. Then shall our souls rejoice and sing. You have turned my grief into dancing, released me from my anguish, surrounded me with gladness, O sovereign my God. I will give thanks to you forever. We turn to the words of Kaddish, transliteration of which can be found on page 535 of our prayer books as well, joining together as one community. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divra chirete v'almich malchute, b'chayachon uv'yomechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael, barala uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach olam mamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'nadar v'naleh v'nalal shemei kudusha b'richu, v'elamin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'maram b'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. The source of peace, and peace to those who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved here and everywhere, and let us say, amen. Amen. So, as we prepare for the concluding of our prayers, we join together in the watchword of our faith on the bottom of 523. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious sovereignty forever and ever.
Baruch Shem, Shem Kavod Malchuto le'olam va'ed.
Adonai hu ha'Elohim, 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 Adonai hu ha'Elohim. The eternal Lord is our God.
Adonai hu ha'Elohim, Adonai hu ha'Elohim, Adonai hu ha'Elohim, Adonai hu ha'Elohim.
And as we conclude our Yom Kippur service and move to our new year and to end this day of holiness, we continue with our Havdalah service, which can be found on page 526.
The first blessing we say is over the sweetness of life, the holiness of our time, as we raise the glass of wine, the fruit of the vine, remind ourselves of that blessing, the joy, sweetness time together brings into our lives.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei hagafen, borei beri
Our second blessing is over our spices, which the fragrant smell is supposed to help carry us from one moment of holiness to the next.
We raise the braided candle, reminding us of all the days of our week coming into this time in our lives, the holiness that recognizing how we bring light into our world in being ourselves and being special, and what we have as a command to make our world a better, brighter place. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh amen.
Our final blessing, we extinguish our candle into our cup of juice. Reminder of the end of this sacred period, this holy time, what it's called us to do, our actions in this upcoming year, and now to set us in motion, to begin our year with a clean slate, working to fulfill that vision of what we've discussed, what we've prayed for, what we've hoped for.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Amen. Shana Tova, 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 Shana Tova. A good year, a year of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good year, a year of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase.
And we continue on page 525 with our closing benediction. And now, at the close of this day's service, we implore you, eternal God, that the year upon which we have entered be for us, for Israel, and for all the world, a year of blessing and prosperity.
Amen.
A year of salvation and comfort.
Amen.
A year of peace and contentment, of joy and of spiritual welfare.
Amen.
A year of virtue and of reverence for God.
Amen.
A year that finds the hearts of parents united with the hearts of their children.
Amen.
A year of your pardon and favor.
Amen.
Adonai yishmar tzeitecha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam. May the Eternal One bless your going out and your coming in, from this time forth and forever.
Worship concludes. Our Yom Kippur is completed with the sounding of the shofar. Tkiya! Dream. Trua. Tkia Gedola.
Gemar Chatima Tova.